Welcome to the PKSOI Peace and Stability Journal. I'm Colonel Greg Dewitt, the Director of PKSOI. I would like to take a few minutes to update you on the activities of the PKSOI staff over the last several months and briefly introduce to you the articles in the journal, many of which come from our staff and interns. I will close my comments with a few upcoming highlights for the next quarter. PKSOI's own Commander Danny King, while on a ship assessment visit, learned of the USS Carney's recent rescue mission of 97 migrants on a distressed boat at sea. Capitalizing on his experience, Commander King visited refugee camps in Sicily and then talked with refugees to understand their motivations for taking such a perilous journey. Dr. Michael Spangler, a retired senior foreign service officer and adjunct professor at PKSOI, is a sought-after East Asia expert, ponders the potential ramifications of North Korean regime collapse. North Korean reunification is most likely an option facilitated by multilateral negotiations to determine the litany of near to far-term stabilization tasks necessary to create a new unified state. PKSOI has an enriching internship program enabling students to focus on real-world challenges to peace and stability operations, while gaining a perspective on collaborative research and interaction with senior Department of Defense and other intergovernmental agencies' senior leaders. This next article is from one of our interns and was derived from a collaborative engagement with Transparency International. Ms. Courtney Wojcik of Dickinson College focused her research on the difference between terms anti-corruption and counter-corruption, as they're often used interchangeably, and identified case studies that outline effective means for combating corruption. Mr. Ryan McCannell, PKSOI's U.S. Agency for International Development advisor, while attending the U.S. Army War College as a student last year, prepared historical lessons learned piece on the United Nations peacekeeping efforts to end conflict in Cyprus. In the article, he outlined several UN peacekeeping best principles and measures in Cyprus, which could assist U.S. foreign policymakers in future planning sessions. Charles Boutros, an intern from Georgetown University, compiled a survey of the often unsung long-term commitment of DoD personnel in post-conflict scenarios. His findings are detailed in a table which clearly emphasizes that DoD's stabilization efforts are often 5 years or more lengthier than combat operations. Another Dickinson intern, Amanda Cluster, tackled the ever-tenuous security situation in the South China Sea, where China has continued to defy United Nations resolutions, creating economic concerns by neighboring countries. Amanda outlines maritime security threats in the region posed by China's continued activities in the region. Kaylee Morrison, an intern from Mercyhurst University, as a part of her internship, prepared a short threat assessment on the potential for internal conflict in Zimbabwe leading up to the next election in 2018. The next item in this journal is a link to PKSOI's new YouTube series on considerations in the peace and stability arena. In this video, PKSOI's Katrina Gierman comments on some of the findings from the most recent solemn sampler on refugees and internally displaced persons and the strain the Syrian conflict is placing on European countries. As for PKSOI engagements and interactions, a team of PKSOI's experts participated in the 15th annual CENTCOM Regional Cooperation Exercise, training a multinational brigade composed of members from Kyrgyzstan, Mongolia, Pakistan, and Tajikistan. In December, Dr. Karen Finkenbeiner and I traveled to the Socialist Republic of Vietnam to visit the Ministry of National Defense's Peacekeeping Center as a part of Dr. Finkenbeiner's quarterly visit to review the center's progress, maintaining her periodic Ministry of Defense advising responsibilities. Mr. John Weingartner and Lieutenant Colonel Andreas Hatcherschwitt, PKSOI's German exchange officer, participated in NATO's Protection of Civilians Concept Development Workshop. Professor Dwight Raymond partnered with the U.S. Military Observer Group Washington to provide classes on peace operations to U.S. soldiers deploying to the MINUSMA, the Mali mission. PKSOI's Japanese exchange officer, Lieutenant Colonel Norihisa Urakami, provided protection of civilian instruction at the European Peace Support Training Center as a part of their conflict management course. As a part of our engagement strategy for peace operations, PKSOI hosted a Challenges Forum workshop at Carlisle's Army Heritage and Education Center entitled Taking Leadership to the Next Level, UN Peace Operations 2020. The Geneva Center for Security Policy co-hosted the conference, which was directed by the Challenges Forum Secretariat under the guidance of Sweden's Folke Benedett Academy. We hosted 70 people from 20 countries and over 30 partner organizations, including significant participation from the United Nations staff who addressed the why and what of leadership, as well as available training for improving leadership in UN peace operations. The next journal will cover some of the findings from PKSOI's recently completed annual Peace and Stability Operations Training and Education Workshop, as well as intern case studies on Burundi and Nigeria, a comparative analysis of different information operations, and a thought piece on rebuilding Syria. Just before we close out April 2017, PKSOI will support Unified Focus 17 in Cameroon. As always, if you have an article which aligns thematically with the PKSOI journal or would like to propose a collaborative research initiative, please contact us. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoy the journal.